Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Let's go and take a look at what we're tracking here for today as we are tracking a couple more cold shots to come in across the country here over the next week. But then we're going to begin to see some changes, and as a result of those changes, things will begin to warm up over a big part of the country. And as a result of the warmer conditions, this can be kind of a crazy and wacky jet stream there. And the question will be, will that warm weather stick around till Christmas? And we'll take the latest outlook on that as well. Now, before we get into this report, I do want to thank all the new subscribers here to the channel. Again, welcome. Thank you for coming on board. And if you're that 60% out there who check out this report and have not yet subscribed, again, please consider it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Helps me out with the algorithm here on YouTube to allow us to at least try to grow the channel. All right, let's go and take a look here at the latest satellite imagery here as we're looking at this Alberta Clipper type system. It's dumping some snow across the Great Lakes, and this will swing into the northeast for today. We have some rains on the increase down here through Texas. This will be kind of encroaching along the Gulf Coast a little bit here for today. And still pretty quiet out here on the west coast. We've got a big ridge out there, and it's definitely put up a stop sign. Yeah, it's a big stop sign there. Not going to allow this thing to move in, so we got the storm system out here. I think this one's going to eventually break this thing down, so we'll get some rains into areas of Washington State and Oregon as we go through the forecast period. Now, looking at your current watches and warnings, we got numerous winter weather ones, that's for sure. Winter weather advisories as well as winter storm warnings there in the pink across New England and across the Great Lakes. The brown is a wind advisory. It's going to be pretty gusty with the system swinging on down here across the Great Lakes and into the northeast. Pretty quiet out here in the west, and got some freeze warnings there once again across South Georgia and Florida here for today. All right, let's take a look at our current surface map. Again, we see the snow is definitely on the increase here over the Great Lakes and moving into areas of the northeast. As this cold front comes on through, we're going to kick up the lake effect again. Once again, that'll be kicking up, but it shouldn't be quite as bad as what we saw over the weekend, but it will be kicking up. Here's the rains increasing here across portions of Texas as well, and this will kind of stay, as the front comes down, it'll kind of squeeze it and kind of push it back into the Gulf of Mexico. Let's talk about some of the snow up here. It's kind of interesting when you look at snow on a radar. It looks kind of real fuzzy looking, don't it? That's because of the way the radar beam bounces off those snowflakes. So see the snow's coming across Lake Michigan, coming in toward Traverse City, and again going over Lake Superior. But again, a snowy day here across portions of Michigan, as well as heading into the northeast as we look for the next 24 hours. Let's go ahead and look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center and take a look at where we're expecting maybe a few thunderstorms over the next several days. Well, first by taking a look at your day one outlook here for your Wednesday, and you can see the little pocket of green here. Again, no organized severe weather. We're talking about Texas, Louisiana, maybe parts of Arkansas here for today. Might see some thunderstorms here and there. Now, what about the day two? Again, like I said, we're going to see that front kind of squeeze it down toward the Gulf, so it's going to be kind of isolated more for tomorrow. Generally sitting down across South Texas, maybe right along the Gulf Coast there as we go into your Thursday. And as far as your day three outlook, we'll have another system we'll have to watch that'll come into Texas, and there's another shot there of some thunderstorms here as we look in toward your Friday. So we're talking about areas there across central Texas, getting up near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But at least no organized severe weather for now. We'll definitely take that. Now, with the pattern change coming at us and things warming up again, we might see some active, more severe weather a little bit later in the month. So stay tuned to that as we go here to the next few days and deeper into the month. All right, now as far as your excessive rainfall, flood results, not to worry about this. Over the next 3 days, it's looking pretty quiet. However, as we look at your day 3 to 7 outlook here, we might get some heavier rains to start falling across this area, across the south. This is needed rainfall. I think it'll handle it pretty well, but that's predominantly it right there for that zone. And it looks like some colder temperatures up here, up into Washington State as a hazard show up right there. But those are the only two areas of concern looking from day 3 out to day 7. So let's go ahead and take a look at your short-range forecast here. We're going to first start off by taking a look at the high-resolution model here, as we're going to be watching this system that's going to be moving across the Great Lakes and into the northeast. That's our first area. Of course, we got some rain down here along the Texas Gulf Coast we're also going to watch as well. So again, watch that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as we go ahead and watch this come on through as we get that cold shot moving in over the Great Lakes. Again, we'll get those lake effects blowing off here again as we got that cold wind blowing over those lakes. It's going to be dumping that moisture on the leeward side of the lake. Lakes. Again, as we go throughout the day here by heading into tonight, we got the rain here increasing across Louisiana, parts of Arkansas, and this will again be moving off in this direction as we've got that pretty good front that's moving down here across the eastern half of the United States. So again, let's go ahead and take this again forward as we watch that snow increase across New England as we go throughout the day heading into tomorrow morning. Notice by 8 o'clock in the morning, we got some pretty decent snow coverage here across a big area there from Maine, stretching on down even into Pennsylvania, even West Virginia getting some. Little rain here across the Gulf Coast and even getting into parts of Alabama there a little bit. But again, that's going to be drifting off toward the south throughout the day as it gets a little bit of a squeeze play there from that front drifting down to the south. And that moves on out of the way. So it looks just plain old cold here across this zone. Again, you see that blue line. This is our 540 line. That's basically our indication mark of where the real cold air is. Anything north of that, you're seeing that cold air. Still staying quiet out in here in the west for a few more days, but that'll begin to change, though, as we look further in the forecast period. So let's go take a look at the jet stream. We're going to look at that here as we're looking at the North American continent here as we go ahead and take this through, as we got that reinforcing shock coming on down as we head into your Thursday, as you see that kind of thing in there. And then we're going to notice this other piece of energy we'll kind of watch out here that'll be kicking on out. That's what will set the thunderstorms there in the Thursday going into Friday. So as that system kind of kicks on out, we'll get some storms in there across Texas on Friday and into Saturday. Then we got another plunge of the jet stream coming in here. There it is right there, coming in as we head toward this upcoming weekend and set into Sunday and Monday. So here's our next little dip here. This will be charging on down to the south. But once this one goes by, that's when things will begin to change. So we'll watch that dip come in again going into the middle of next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, another little cold blast there coming on down. The jet stream's going to start going back toward the north. So by the time we head toward the end of next week, becomes fairly zonal here. So fairly zonal. This is kind of a subtropical jet down here. Again, we got another little cutoff low feature down here across the southwest. But with that flow becoming a little more zonal, we're going to lock that cold air up in Canada. And it looks like it stays that way. We've got another big trough here coming off the west coast. So obviously, as we head toward heading toward the 15th or so, we'll see some rains out here in California, a fast and zonal flow, and definitely warming up here across a lot of areas of the southern tier of the United States as we head toward the 15th and 16th. And that flow kind of dominates, really does. I mean, the main jet, as it takes us all the way out to the 18th here, is up toward the north. Kind of a split flow here, as we got this coming down, and then you got a weaker flow down here toward the south. So with this kind of configuration, we're going to see milder temperatures, increased chances of rain across the country, and definitely limited snow chances, I believe, because of the fact that we got to have the mild air over a big portion of the country. Not saying that we won't see snow here and there, especially the further north you go. It's just definitely going to be on the milder side. That is for sure. So how does this translate into precipitation? Let's take a look at that. We'll go ahead and take a look at this. Again, this is the European model, watching that blast come across the Great Lakes. We saw that on the high resolution model there. So we saw that. So let's go ahead and take how it looks like for this upcoming weekend. Friday looking pretty quiet. We do have a little bit of rain here going into Friday night here across the Texas Gulf Coast. Starting to see some rains here finally on the west coast after that ridge starts to beat on down. We showed you that storm system there off the coast there coming into this upcoming weekend. Looks like it'll start to break that down and move on in. Then as we go throughout the day on Sunday, we'll see that moisture start to increase here throughout the day on Sunday across the southern tier of the United States here. Another little weaker system here across the Intermountain region coming in here up toward the north. And that's what's going to cause that secondary dive, as we're going to see another piece of energy here dive in across the central portion of the country. So we see the rain increasing up across the areas of the Midwest and into the Great Lakes. What's interesting about this, the freezing temperatures are way up to the north. So we're going to get plain old rain falling on top of that, all that snow that's on the ground. So could be some localized flooding events. Need to watch that. You get snow melt, you get some rain on top of that. That can cause some problems there. But it looks like that'll be heading in toward your Monday. We're talking about December the 9th there. So this moves off toward the east. Rain moves off toward the east. We get one more plunge here. So we get the low pressure system coming across the Great Lakes. That will dump some pretty decent snows on the backside of that going across Michigan. But here comes the colder plunge. One more coming on down before we see things begin to modify beyond the December 10th period. So this moves on in. We get one more quick shot across the east, and then we start to see that blue line begin to retreat to the north. as we get another system moving out here on the west coast here, and we see some rains there coming in. It looks like fairly quiet weekend, the following weekend outside of the west coast, but definitely much milder. Look at the blue freezing line way up here to the north. So we see temperatures much milder here across a big portion of the country as we head toward the middle of the month into the 15th. And that trend looks like it's going to hold here as we go into the upcoming. There's a little clipper system may try to give us a little cool down here across the northeast, but I mean, look at way to the north there. So it's going to be significant warm up here going into the 18th and the 19th. And with that split flow like that, it's going to be very hard to bring down any cold air heading down towards, say, Christmas time, week after that. So it may take a little bit longer before we see a return shot, if this model holds true. Again, this is 360 hours, folks, so we'll be looking for forecast trends. It's definitely been trending warmer every one of these forecast runs the last day or so. So let's go ahead and take a look at your precipitation. We'll go out 10 days. Again, my rule, I don't like going beyond about 10 days when it comes to precipitation. So as you can see, we're getting that rains there across the Gulf Coast areas there coming on through. And then it looks like we'll see some more rain finally out on the west coast. You see it finally kicking up out there. We do have the lake effect snows, but notice not nearly as high with the water content, not nearly as robust as what we saw over the last weekend. And then that next system comes in, brings the rain is heading toward the 10th and 11th across the eastern third of the United States, getting some decent rains there. And they'll go ahead and stop this at 240. So it looks like we're getting some rains, pretty decent rains across the southeast, out here on the west coast, obviously. Kind of intermittent rains here in the Intermountain region and into the high plains, but at least we're starting to see the rain starting to pick up after kind of almost a week of some pretty dry conditions across most of the country. Let's look at the snowfall totals. We'll take this out for the next 10 days as well. Again, we're talking about the Great Lakes. We're talking about New England here as far as the short term is concerned. Then we'll start throwing the Intermountain region. We'll start getting in on the action as we go further out here. See the snows there kind of picking up there out into areas of the Colorado and back over toward Idaho. So we're going to stop this once again at 240. So again, some pretty decent snows across the Great Lakes. We're talking about areas there across the Intermountain region, Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, getting some snows in there as well. So again, not looking at too bad as far as those snow totals are concerned for areas there. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the Great Lakes here. We'll go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it here. As we look at the snow totals, they're okay. They're looking at the pink areas, you're talking about over 8 inches of snow, but at least we're not seeing, 20, 25, 30 inches of snow, nothing that's off the chart here. So it looks like all these areas sitting here, I see like areas here south of near Watertown, for example, maybe getting about a foot of snow on top of what they already have. But it's just going to basically pile on to what they're already got in that area. And then when the warmer air comes in, some of that snow is going to begin to melt off, although it's not going to go anywhere very, very fast. All right, we're going to look at your temperature anomaly map here. Again, looking at the blues, looking at the greens, you're talking about temperatures well below normal, especially here across the mid-Atlantic here as we're beginning your day here. Now, as we go ahead and take this through here, again, watch what happens here. We got another plunge of cold air coming down, going into the 5th and 6th. That's again, going on this week. That's that one cold shot. That's the first one. And then this pulls on out, and then we get a warm-up here as we go into this upcoming weekend. So this weekend brings us a brief warm-up before we get one more cold shot. Remember, we got one more to do, following behind this one back in here. That's going to be coming in as we head toward the middle of next week. So as we go toward the 10th and 11th, here comes that next plunge. Boom, it comes on down here to the 10th and 11th. Nice little pronounced cold front right there. You can see that pretty well. Nice big warm up here across New England briefly as this cold air moves on in. But once this comes on in, it's gonna be a hit and run. It'll come on in. We'll see the cold temperatures there going into the 11th and 12th. We're definitely seeing things modifying out here in the west with above normal temperatures out in the west. And then as we go on through this, we'll pull that cold air out, and boy, a big part of the country going to that following weekend. Look how much of this, from coast to coast, basically, you're looking at temperatures much milder. Again, we got a split flow. We're going to lock the cold air back up into Canada for a little while. Give it a chance to recharge its batteries, that's for sure. And it looks like this holds true going right through the 16th and 17th. We do have a upper level feature coming in across Southern California causing the cooler temperatures there. But the Arctic air, no, it's way up toward the north. It is not coming down south. And that's the way it's looking right now going in toward the 18th and 19th. Again, that's the trend right now. 360 hours. Again, anything beyond about 7 to 10 days is kind of just an extrapolation at this point. But the trending is warmer because we're going to have a milder period here as we head toward the middle and end of the month, going around the 14th and 15th, and definitely the 16th and 17th, as you can see right there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the climate outlook here. Let's take a look at this. And the Climate Prediction Center is also piggybacking off this as we're seeing milder temperatures the 9th to the 13th. And now, again, we got that one cold shot still coming down here on the 10th, 11th. This might be a little aggressive. We got that one cold shot that the European is showing, and I think that's very likely to happen. But where I do agree with this, folks, is on the 8th, the 11th to the 17th. Yeah, we're definitely warming things up from coast to coast, near normal down here across Texas. But these two maps will probably get modified a little bit today. These are produced in the afternoon daily, so expect a few changes on that. Now, as far as precipitation is concerned, we're going to get a little more precipitation here across the east, looking through the 9th to the 13th, below normal here as well on the 9th to the 13th, and then we start tripping that away. Again, we had that upper level feature that was coming down here, so we get to near a normal precipitation here across California, more across the northwest, and slightly above normal here across the eastern third of the United States. So looks like we're in store for a topsy-turvy tale of two seasons as we go deeper into the month of December. I don't know about you. I'm really hoping that the trend is not for below normal temperatures. I mean, above normal temperature Christmas. I do prefer it to be a little bit chilly and not be living in the southeastern portion of the country. I don't want to be wearing short sleeve shirts and not having jackets at Christmas time. But we got a little ways to watch. We'll see if that'll hold true or not. Now, again, if you'd like to have this as a regular feature in your YouTube feed, please do me the favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please help me out with that YouTube algorithm. It's a beast. Got to fight that thing every day. So leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate your efforts in helping me grow this channel. All right? You guys take it easy. Be good. Stay safe. And we'll see you in the next report. Bye, guys.